In order to have more impact, we really got to recognize that we are here to serve and to give others. If you want to be more impactful, if you're anything like us, if you want to have more impact, you need to elevate your degree of service.
Faith without works is dead. Here's what I realized a long time ago. A lot of people got the faith, but they don't have the works. A lot of people have the faith, but they don't understand the works. A lot of people have faith, but they're not willing to do the work.
What are you creating? If you don't know what you're creating today, I want you to go back to sleep and try it again. And I want you to wake up today again and think, you know what? If I was designed in God's image, if I was designed just like Him and I am a creator at my core, what are you creating?
I want to ask you a question. In your off season, what do you need to do? Is your marketing? In your off season, what do you need to work on? Your sales? In your off season, what do you need to work on? Your partnerships? In your off season, what do you need to work on? Your website? In your off season, what do you need to work on? Do you need to work on your product, your marketing, your branding? What do you need to work on? Your social media? There's something you got to work on. You got the faith to be a millionaire, but do you understand the work?
Welcome to another edition of Million Dollar Maker. One thing I love about why we came up with this name was that we know as business owners, a lot of us are trying to work through and figure out how do we get to our next level. If you're anything like us, you are striving, you are working, and you're working hard. But a lot of times you're in this space that you're like, you know what? In order to get to my next level, how uncomfortable am I willing to get? Let me tell you. If you didn't need to get uncomfortable before you get comfortable again, well, it wouldn't be the next level. Honestly, each and every one of us need to recognize in order to get to a new level in seasons that we got to go through the series of uncomfortableness. What is being uncomfortable? It's that season of doing something totally different than what you did before. You see, that's where we are in our business. We're in a season of doing something totally different so that we can see more into our lives, which will actually seed more into your life. You see, this season of our business is really designed to help you write your story. We want to help you write your story. Your story is amazing. Your story is magnetic. Your story needs to be told. But see, your story comes out in different ways. Your business is telling your story. How you integrate with people is living your story. And how you think about yourself. Oh my God, let me tell you, that is the best story. You know, today when I woke up, I was thinking about what do we all need to do to have more impact? In order to have more impact, we really got to recognize that we are here to serve and to give others. If you want to be more impactful, if you're anything like us, if you want to have more impact, you need to elevate your degree of service. So say that with me. If I'm going to have more impact, I need to elevate my degree of service. You see, we're here to support each other. We're here to encourage each other. We are here to help work together with each other. You are not here to just take. You were designed by God to give. And so since each and every one of us was made in His image, you have been made as a creator. What are you creating? If you don't know what you're creating today, I want you to go back to sleep and try it again. And I want you to wake up today again and think, you know what? If I was designed in God's image, if I was designed just like Him and I am a creator at my core, what are you creating? You see, I want you to think about your life and every single opportunity you have as an opportunity to create. What are you going to create for somebody else? I hope as a business owner, you're thinking, I'm going to create an amazing experience. As a business owner, I'm hoping you're thinking, I'm going to create the most amazing product. And then if you're on a team with or family, I hope you're thinking that I'm going to create the most amazing experience for all of those around us. I want you to start thinking about your impact a whole lot more intently. You see, each and every one of us wake up every day with an opportunity to positively impact other people. We all got to elevate our impact game. You know, it might start off today as you impacting one person. It doesn't matter. I want you to start being committed to that impact until it grows to a customer base of maybe 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people. But I want you to start getting so locked in and so committed to your impact that you are so uncomfortable because you know that this season is about you increasing your impact. That's what business is all about. You know what? Business is all about having a product or a service that can go impact the world. And if you have not looked at your product or your service in that way, I want you to do a do-over, seriously. Your business was not designed just to make money. No, your business was designed to go serve more people and have more impact. And so right now, I'm excited because I get to bring Walter Bond. He created an amazing message about a shark, about a suckerfish, and a parasite. We need more sharks in this world. We need more people that know that they are called to rearrange the universe. They are called to go impact more people. So if you are a shark and you know it, raise your hand with me and say, I am a shark. You see, we're on this journey. Thank you for that. We're on this journey to make more sharks know that they are sharks. We all got sharkness in us, but sometimes you just got to awaken that shark. We all got to just get committed, say like, you know what? I was made in God's image. Why am I playing at a lower level? No, today is your day that I want you to rise up and be the shark that you were designed to be. All right, Mr. Walter Bond, come on to the stage. I'm passing it off to you.
All right, thank you, Antoinette. I'm so thankful to have a passionate wife. Well, my wife is a fire plug, and she keeps me fired up when I get down. So let's get right into it. You know, I want to talk more about what it takes to be a millionaire. Here's my favorite scripture, okay? Faith without works is dead. Here's what I realized a long time ago. A lot of people got the faith, but they don't have the works. A lot of people have the faith, but they don't understand the works. A lot of people have faith, but they're not willing to do the work. Right now, with the millionaire mindset, what we want to do is help you with the mindset, but most importantly, teach you about the work. Because if you got your mind right, if you got your work right, trust me, money is easy. This morning, I was talking to one of our partners in China. Think about how big this world is. You want to be a millionaire or whatever kind of money you want to make. You want to make big money for your life. This is the world at your disposal. Right now, we're coming to you through the World Wide Web. If you think about the world, $1 million is nothing. If you think about how big the world is, you can get as much money as you want because there's abundance in the world. One of our clients, we're flying around the country in a private jet, and the client who was a billionaire looked me in the eye and said, Walter, it's just money, dude. It's just money. If I run out, we'll just go get some more. That messed my head up. That blew my mind because he had the right context around money. Hey man, it's just paper. All it is money. But let me tell you what all money does for you is allows you to express yourself based on who you really are. That's all money does for you. So if you're a good guy with a whole lot of money, you could be a really, really good guy. If you're a jerk with a lot of money, you could be a really, really good jerk. So the bottom line, all money does for you, it allows you to express yourself and who you are better. And remember, it's not the money that's evil. The love of money is what's evil. So what I want to do is really help us with our mindset and our skill set to make sure if you want some paper, we're going to help you go get some paper, and then you can express yourself based on who you really are. Faith without works is dead. So let's talk about the works. When I think about works, I think about strategy. It's impossible to be a millionaire without a strategy. So can I ask you a simple rhetorical question? You got these big dreams. You have these lofty goals, but what is your strategy to achieve it? If you don't have a strategy to become a millionaire, you can have all the faith in the world, but your works are flawed. You can have all the faith in the world, but your works are not even organized. We have a lot of people believe in God for big things, want to do things, and they get discouraged because they think God's not hearing. They get discouraged because they don't think God answers prayers. Hear me clearly. Faith without works is dead. So the first challenge I have for you, if you want to make $1 million, what is your strategy? I think if you do the math, it's like $2,500 a day. That's all it is. You know, I'm a little bit off in my math, but to be a millionaire, all it is about $2,500 a day. Let me tell you something. You can go around the corner and get $2,500. You can go downtown and get $2,500. You don't have to go very far. You can stay in your living room, in your house with the World Wide Web, and I promise you, you can get $2,500 a day. But you gotta have some faith, and you gotta have some works. So my first challenge for you, and I don't care where you are in the world tuning in right now to my voice, what is your strategy to get $2,500 a day? If you don't have a strategy, you dead already. If you don't have a strategy, you're in trouble already. If you don't have a strategy, you are fooling yourself already. Simplicity is the best way to get rich. Simplicity is the best way to become a millionaire. Let me give you a little bit of an example. My wife and I had a great strategy when we started our speaking business 25 years ago. It was simple. Baby, I'm gonna kill the stage and you run that office. I'm gonna kill the stage and you run that office. I'm gonna murder the stage. I'm going to be entertaining, dynamic. I'm going to give my clients great information. And all I need you to do is run a great office. Within 10 years, I was a Hall of Fame motivational speaker. And within 3 years, we doubled our MBA income with a very simple strategy to become millionaires. You don't have to have a complex strategy. All you need is a very, very simple strategy to become wealthy. In fact, Burger King has a simple one: have it your way. Burger King make it very, very simple. When you come into our restaurant, you can have it your way. Very, very simple strategy. McDonald's has a simple strategy. We love to see you smile. Da-da-da-da-da, just loving it. In fact, McDonald's has convinced us if you come and eat our food, you're gonna leave in a good mood. If you come and eat our food, you're gonna be happy. In fact, we're gonna have a happy meal because we're gonna get your little baby addicted to our French fries before they're 2 years old. Very simple strategy. So what we need to do right now is figure out what's your simple strategy to make sure that you can have the faith and the works to become a millionaire. If you don't have a strategy, you're in the right place. Because I'm telling you, 2 or 3 steps can make the difference in you being wealthy and becoming a millionaire. I got a couple other thoughts to share with you, and I'm telling you, if we get these thoughts down, I'm telling you, we can be very, very wealthy. Here's the second thing we got to talk about today. Your wealth is going to be based on your gift. Your wealth is going to be based on your gift. What gift has God given you to prosper? What gift has God given you to prosper? At a young age, someone gave me a baseball and I knew what to do. At a young age, someone gave me a basketball and it came easy to me. At a young age, someone gave me a football and a football helmet, and as soon as I walked on the field, it became easy for me. And my basketball career ended. I was nervous, I was scared, I had no clue what was next, and someone handed me a microphone. Woo! And it was easy for me. Why? Because it was a gift from God. Let me ask you a question. 2 things have allowed me to travel this world and amass wealth. 2 gifts that I know God gave me allowed me to create an amazing life. God has given you a gift. But here's what we have to do. We have to discover your gift. What comes easy for you? What can you do all day long? It doesn't get you tired. In fact, it gives you energy. When you are operating in your gift, people look at you and say, my, that boy can sing. My, she can cook. My, he knows how to speak. My, he knows how to lead. My, technology comes easy. My, she loves to serve. I'm telling you, God has given you a gift. There was a woman in the Bible who was broke, busted, and disgusted. And the man of God says, you got to have something in this house. You got to have something in this house. I know you're in trouble. I know you're being in debt, but you got to have something in this house you're not using. You got to have something in this house that you've not valued. There's got to be something here that we can build on. And she said, well, all I got is some oil. And he looked at her and said, baby, that's all you need. What does LeBron James got? One thing. I don't know LeBron, I won't be disrespectful to LeBron, but he's a billionaire doing one thing. What does Michael Jordan do? He's a billionaire doing one thing. Sometimes all you need is one thing. If you do that one thing well, you can be very, very wealthy. Colonel Sanders did one thing, fried some chicken. Now, he fried some chicken. He fried so much chicken, I think he started his business in his 60s, and doing one thing has made him extremely wealthy. Can I ask you a question? What's your oil? Can I ask you a question? What's that one thing? And once you discover that one thing, you can do all day long and you're good at it. It's a gift from God. The second thing we got to do, once you know what your gift is to develop that gift. See, a lot of people know what our gift is, but they're not willing to develop their gift. I would tell you 1,000 times, it took me 15 years of development until I became an NBA ball player. 15 years of commitment, 15 years of loyalty, 15 years of hard work, 15 years of sweat, 15 years of sprained ankles, 15 years getting my teeth knocked out, 15 years of jamming my fingers, 15 years of getting cut, 15 years of being disappointed, 15 years of being scored on, being dunked on, 15 years in the weight room, 15 years on the track. It took me 15 years to become. And when I got that jersey, people said, "Are you happy?" Oh, of course I'm happy. But the plan was to be here all along. In fact, I had a strategy a long time ago. I had the faith, but I was willing to do the works. And 15 years later, I became. So the first thing we have to do is discover your gift. But the second thing you got to do for yourself is be willing to develop your gift. Are you willing to get into a laboratory? Are you willing to get into a laboratory? Are you willing to go back to school? Are you willing to get certified? Are you willing to wake up early? Are you willing to stay late? Are you willing to do it for free until you can get so good at it someone is willing to pay for it? I played basketball for 15 years for free. In fact, I remember going to gyms in Chicago, we had to pay to play. I remember having janitors that would let us in at midnight. We had to give them a couple of bucks. We would go pay to play. That's how hungry we are. We would pay to play because that's the vision we had. And eventually, by paying to play, eventually that play paid me. You got to be willing to discover your gift, but you have to have the commitment and the loyalty to develop your gift. We all know people who are talented, but they've not developed the gift. So we have to discover your gift. The second thing, we have to develop your gift. And here's the third thing. You guys ready? We have to position our gift in a lucrative industry. Every industry is lucrative. Every industry is lucrative. Every industry is lucrative. So once you discover your gift, then you have to develop your gift. And then you have to position your gift. If you can do those three, trust me, the money cometh. If you can do those three, it's a matter of time before you attract resources, attract wealth, attract opportunities. All it was required of you is to simply have some strategy. We have to have the mindset, but we also have to make sure that we develop the skill set and have the works that it takes to be elite. So once we discover, once we develop, and once we position, every single year, I'm gonna give you a word that you should never forget: recalibrate. Every single year, this is what I would do: recalibrate. You're gonna make some progress every single year, but once that year is over, you have to recalibrate. I thank God for being an athlete because every season was its own entity unto itself. The biggest mistake business people make, the only difference between 2024 and 2025 are some black eyed peas. The only difference between 2024 and 2025 is your holiday party. The only difference between 2024 and 2025 is you take a little break. And as soon as that new year starts, you do everything the same exact way. Them black eyed peas can't help you. That toast can't help you. You praying and believing God can't really help you unless you put in the works to get to your next level. I love being an athlete because we had what we call an off season. An off season is not when you work in your business, it's when you work on your business. And you must identify your weaknesses in your off season. And if you're committed and loyal in your off season, you can improve everything that you're weak in. So can I ask you a question? You got the faith, but are you willing to do the works in your off season to get bigger, stronger, and faster? Some of you guys know my story. My freshman year, I don't play a lick on my college basketball team. I go into my coach's office, I ask him a simple question: what do I need to do to play in the NBA? He looked me in the eye and laughed. He said, "Son, you don't play for me." I said, "Coach, I got a vision. Coach, I got a dream. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And my commitment is to become somebody different. Just tell me what I need to work on, Coach, and I'll work on it." I said, he told me in my eyes, "You can't run, you can't jump, you can't dribble, you can't shoot, and you can't rebound, son." I said, "Coach, I know I got weaknesses. But in my off season, I'm going to get bigger, I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to get faster." The next year, I led our team to the Sweet 16 coming off the bench. I went back in his office the next year, asked him the same old question: what do I need to do in my off season to play in the NBA? He didn't laugh this time. And every year, the list got shorter and shorter and shorter until I became an NBA prospect. I want to ask you a question. In your off season, what do you need to do? Is your marketing? In your off season, what do you need to work on? Your sales? In your off season, what do you need to work on? Your partnerships? In your off season, what do you need to work on? Your website? In your off season, what do you need to work on? Do you need to work on your product, your marketing, your branding? What do you need to work on? Your social media? There's something you got to work on. You got the faith to be a millionaire, but do you understand the works? You got the faith to be wealthy, but you're not willing to do the work. There's got to be something you believe in that you got to improve in. And that's the heart of an athlete. When you go to the off season, you've accepted this weakness and you made a decision to turn it into a strength. When my career was over, I had no money coming in. I never had a real job. But I went to the National Speakers Association and asked the same question. My goal was to be a Hall of Fame motivational speaker. And I humbled myself to other Hall of Fame motivational speakers and asked a simple question. What do I need to do to be like you? What do I need to do to reach the top? What do I need to do to be elite? God will send you someone because when the teacher is ready, the student will appear. I got that backwards. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You know why your mentor hasn't showed up? Because you're hard-headed. You know why your mentor has not showed up? Because your ego. You know why your mentor has not showed up? Because your pride won't allow it. Let me tell you something. I will always humble myself and ask a simple question to someone who is qualified and worthy. What do I need to do? And I promise you I'll do it. That's a simple formula to be elite. You must discover your gift. You must be willing to develop that gift no matter how long it takes. But you must be willing to position that gift in a lucrative position in your industry. Let me give you an analogy. You can go and wait tables at Denny's. You can go and wait tables at a local restaurant where the average menu price is $7. And your tip is going to reflect the bill. Some of these bills come back $50, some of them come back $30. Somebody by themselves might have a special. They might walk out of your restaurant with a $12 meal. You're still serving, you're still taking orders, you're still running back forth in the kitchen, your feet are still sore when you get home. What happened if you packed up that gift from Denny's, IHOP, and repositioned your gift at a steakhouse? You're doing the same exact thing. You're serving, and when you get home, your feet are sore. But the average price at a steakhouse is much higher because not only are they eating steak, the sides are a la carte. And they might order a $1,000 bottle of wine. So if I'm a server and I don't like my salary at a restaurant, I've already discovered my gift. I've already developed my gift. But here's what I need you to do. Reposition your gift in the lucrative part of your industry. And I'm here to tell you, every industry is lucrative. When my career ended, I got hired to broadcast for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I did radio. And let me tell you something. When you do radio in the NBA, you're sitting at that table for 5 hours a night. I had to get there early and do the pregame show. I had to get there early and read the drops. We call them drops. Today's first quarter was brought to you by Dairy Queen, home of the blizzard. I had to read 50 drops. And then I had to do the first half. As soon as the first half was over, I had to do the halftime show. As soon as the halftime show was over, I had to do the second half. And as everybody went home after the final buzzer, guess what? I had to do the post-game show. I had to sit at that table for 5 hours nonstop, running my mouth for the NBA Timberwolves. And I made a decision. I've identified my gift. I've developed my gift. But I don't like where my gift is positioned. And guess what I did? I packed up my gift and repositioned my gift into the motivational speaking business, which is a $13 billion industry. I discovered, I developed, but I had the courage to reposition my gift. Can I ask you a question? A real rhetorical question. Have you discovered your gift? If you haven't discovered your gift, we got to stop right there. Just go ask your family, ask your friends, what am I good at? What do you think I'm really, really good at? And they'll tell you. And I'm telling you, when you're operating in your gift, you can do it all day long. It comes easy for you, and everybody else makes a big deal, but for you, it's nothing. Why? Because it's your gift. It's something that God gave you to prosper, just like that woman had that jar of oil too. Are you willing to develop your gift? When I look at professional sports, we started playing basketball when we were 8 years old. And we did it every day, all day. And when nobody would do it with us, we'd go into a gym all by ourselves because we understood that it was required for us to develop a gift to become a pro. But the most important thing we must do is that we always have to be cognizant of where we position our gift. If you don't like your job, you're not positioned with your gift. If you don't like your salary, you're not positioned with your gift. Listen to me clearly. This can change your life if you pay attention. We have to discover, we must develop, and then we must position our gift. Because once our gift is operating, every year we have to recalibrate. Let me give you a real story. The biggest mistake I ever made was limited vision. The biggest mistake I ever made was a limited vision. When I was 10 years old, all I wanted to do was play in the NBA. The biggest mistake I made, I got it to the NBA. And guess what? I forgot to recalibrate. I remember John Stockton, chiropractor, Craig Bueller would be in the locker room. He would say, Walter, let me adjust you. Why not? It's free. John Stockton went to a chiropractor 4 times a day. You know what I would say? I'm good. Well, Walter, it's free. Stockton does it 4 times a day. I was a witness. On game day, he did it 4 times a day. And I had the opportunity. I had access to the resource. My response at that time, immature, I'm good. Hall of Fame ball player, legendary ball player, giving me the keys to the kingdom. But I was hard-headed, immature, didn't understand what it took to stay in the NBA. I knew what it took to make it, but I didn't know what it took to stay. I'm good. Karl Malone lifted weights every single day, 6'9", 256 pounds. I would see that man have 29 points, 15 rebounds. Next morning, he'd be the first guy in the gym, in the weight room. I would walk by the weight room, man, who's in there lifting? I would look in the locker room, in the weight room, and it was Karl Malone. He would say, hey, young fella, come get a lift. I'm good. I knew what it took to make it to the NBA. I didn't know what it took to stay. If I can go back 25 years ago, I would have recalibrated as soon as I made it to the NBA. Let me ask you a question. Are you falling into that same trap? You always wanted to work for this company, and once you got hired, you forgot to recalibrate? You always wanted to be married, and once you got married, you forgot to recalibrate. You always wanted to have kids, and once you got some kids, you forgot to recalibrate. You always wanted to live in Florida. You always want to live in California. You always want to do all these things, and as soon as you got it, guess what? You forgot to recalibrate. Hear me clearly. The biggest mistake I made in my life, I had a vision. But once I achieved the goal, I forgot to recalibrate. And in your off season, guys, I know better. That's when you recalibrate. That's when you take a look at your year and say, you know what, I was good in these areas, I was weak in these other areas, but I have a little bit of a break built into my year. And that's when I get bigger, that's when I get stronger, that's when I get faster. If you're a small business owner, you better recalibrate. If you're a sales rep, you better recalibrate. If you're leading a sales team, if you're leading a car dealership, if you're leading a franchise, you better recalibrate. I remember through COVID, everyone was devastated through COVID. My biggest client, Jersey Mike Subs, the founder, Peter Cancro, said, Walter, COVID just hit. We've been blindsided, but let's, like you taught me, I'm a shark, and we're going to recalibrate. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to feed all essential workers for free, and we're going to give everyone a 50% discount, and I'm going to back it up from the corporate office. What do you think about that? Hey, Peter, it's your money. Sounds like a great idea to me. Through COVID, he recalibrated, and the rest is history. Today, Subway does about $500,000 per store. Jersey Mike's does about $1.3 million per store. Why? Because they had a leader who was willing to recalibrate. Can I ask you a question? What are you doing right now? You've been doing it the same way for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. It's not getting you your results. It's not getting you where you want to be, but you're unwilling to recalibrate. Jerry Sloan called me over. I said, hey, coach, how can I help you, man? Check with the trainer. He has your plane ticket. We're going in a different direction. Check with the trainer. He has your plane ticket. We're going in a different direction. It took me 15 years to become. And since I didn't recalibrate, my NBA career was over in 5 seconds. Let's count it together. Hey, Walter, check with the trainer. He has your plane ticket. We're going in a different direction. That's 5 seconds. It took me 15 years to become. It was over in 5 years. We all know it takes a long time to build, but it takes no time to destroy. It takes a long time to build. It takes no time to destroy. I want you to understand, you're not just working for money. You're building a legacy. So every year, I want you to understand, you're not just working for money. You're building a legacy. So if you're building a legacy, the most important thing you got to do is recalibrate. Why? Because you're building. If you ever see a house built, they go in phases and stages. The first thing they do is lay the foundation. You ever notice that? They don't lay the roof. They don't wire it. They don't frame it. The first thing they do, they lay the foundation. Because if that foundation ain't right, the house ain't going to stand. The foundation doesn't pass the inspection. Your city going to shut you down. Say, no. You can't go to the next phase. Why? Because your foundation ain't right. Can I ask you a question? In your career, is your foundation right? You want to be a singer, but is your foundation right? You want to launch a band, but is your foundation right? You want to be an entrepreneur, but is your foundation right? You want to get promoted, but is your foundation right? The first thing you have to do is understand we're not just making money. We're building a foundation. We're building a legacy that you can hand to the next generation. I go to track meets all the time, and I love the 4x1 relay. Let me tell you something about legacy. You should be able to have that baton in your hand and run as hard enough, as fast as enough, and as you get tired, as you age, as you get old, you've done such a great job recalibrating. You've been such a great job of building. All you got to do is yell stick, and you hand it to your son. Yell stick, you hand it to your daughter. Yell stick, you hand it to the next generation. Yell stick, you hand it to a board. When you really build something of substance, it will last for generations to come. If you've not built a legacy, it's going to die with you. What I'm working on right now is no longer about income. Been there, done that. Now we're building legacies, and we're on this YouTube channel to empower you to build your legacy. So when you leave this earth and the good Lord calls you home, all you're going to do is say, stick, here's $1 million. Stick, here's $5 million. Stick, here's 10 million. Not only am I going to give you 10 million, I'm going to build you a culture. Not only am I going to give you 10 million, I'm going to build some relationships. Not only am I going to give you some money, I'm going to give you respect. I'm going to give you a name. And when I leave this earth, son, when I leave this earth, daughter, all you got to do is grab the baton in your hand and run the same way I ran. You might even run a little faster. But one thing I love about a 4x1 relay race, you got to stay in your lane. If you don't stay in your lane, you get disqualified. And if you drop the baton, you're disqualified. Well, you know, Walter, I don't really come from that kind of family, man. Ain't nobody give me nothing. Let me tell you something. We got a lot of people like that. I live in a neighborhood with a lot of people like that. Came from nothing, now they're millionaires. Came from nothing, now they're multi-millionaires. Came from absolutely nothing. And I have neighbors in my neighborhood who are multi-billionaires, and they built their business by themselves. Let me be clear. The next time you see a 4x1 relay race, somebody got to run the first leg. We get caught up on the anchor. Oh, here comes Usain Bolt. We get caught up on the anchor. Here comes Flojo. We get caught up on the anchor. Here comes Carl Lewis. It's pretty sitting running around that track, but don't you ever forget, somebody got to run the first leg. So if your family didn't give you nothing, hey, you know the deal. You got to run the first leg. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop being discouraged. Stop making excuses and wake up in the morning and start running like a track athlete. Run as hard as you can, as fast as you can, because you got a son, and one day you got to yell stick, and he going to brag about his daddy. One day you're going to wake up, you're going to yell stick, hand it to your daughters. They're going to brag about the daddy, and they're going to realize, man, my daddy built a business. My mama built a business. My daddy, my mama, my daddy. And before you know it, they'll be talking about grandmama and granddaddy and grandmama and granddaddy. Then before you know it, it's going to be great-grandmama and great-granddaddy. And all of a sudden, you're going to have a grandchild named Michael Jordan. All of a sudden, you might have a grandchild named LeBron James. All of a sudden, you might have something coming down your lineage. But if you're not willing to build, you're not going to have a legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, I came to give you a millionaire mindset. It's one thing to have the faith of God, to believe in prosperity. Whole nother ball game to be willing to do the work that is required from God. I want to come to you live every single week, and we're going to talk about the faith that's required. But most importantly, we're going to talk about the work. 15 years is what it took me to become elite in the NBA industry. And some of you guys are saying, well, Walter Bond, I never heard of him. I know I wasn't a superstar, but I made it. I know I wasn't a superstar, but I got in that locker room, and I got a chance to wear the jersey. I didn't stay as long as I wanted to stay, But one thing I learned was how to get there. But through mistakes, I also learned how to stay. Throughout your life, you're always learning what to do, and you're always learning what not to do. Well, listen, man, I'm going to open up some Q&A right now and ask some others here. You know, if you have any questions about our message today or anything you want to share with me, I would like to know your strategy of what it's going to take you to be a millionaire. We talked about strategy. I would like to hear your strategy, Wesley. I'd like to hear your strategy. Newberry, I'd like to hear your strategy, because faith is one thing, but works is another thing. What is your strategy to make at least $2,500 a day? If you break it down per day, being a millionaire ain't that really hard. Because let me tell you something. In the world of abundance, you can get $2,500 a day legally. If you agree with me, raise your hand and say yes. Yes. If you believe there's enough faith out here for you to get $2,500 a day, raise your hand and say yes. Yes. If you're willing to do the work that is required of you to get $2,500 a day minimum, that's all it is, an average $2,500 a day. If you're willing to discover your gift to get it, say yes. Yes. If you're willing to position your gift, raise your hand and say yes. Yes. If you're willing to develop your gift that God gave you, because that man of God came to that home and gave her instructions. Once he identified the oil, he gave her instructions, go get as many buckets as you can. She could have said, no, I don't take all that, I'm good. She wouldn't have got the blessing, am I right or wrong? The good thing is that she listened to the man of God. He said, go get every bucket that you can get and fill it up with your gift. Fill it up with your talent. Fill it up with your resources. Fill it up with your opportunity. And I promise you, when we get done with you, not only will you have enough to pay your debt, there'll be enough left over for you to live good the rest of your life. The Lord delights in the prosperity of his servant. The Lord delights in the prosperity of his servant. The Lord delights in the prosperity of his servant. And let me tell you something. You shouldn't have to tell people you're blessed. They should just look at you and say, my. He's blessed. my. She's blessed. What do you think happened when Abraham walked through town? Abraham had all his donkeys and all his camels and all his ewes and all his llamas and all his handmaids and all his children and all his camels. And he didn't have to tell them how he knew God. They knew he was blessed. Why? Because they could just see it. If we have the faith of God, if we're willing to put in the works of God, God will touch that thing in such a way that your family will see it and say, my, that boy is blessed. Your friends will see it and say, my, that girl is blessed. Strangers will see you when you walk into a room. And they'll say, man, who is that? Who is she? I don't know, but he must be somebody. I don't know, but she must be somebody. Let's discover our gift. Let's develop our gift. Let's position our gift. And every year, let's take an off season and recalibrate. And I'm telling you, if you come and connect with us, we're going to teach you the mindset, and we're going to teach you the works that is required to become elite. My wife and I have experienced this in two totally different industries. We experienced this in the NBA, and we've experienced this in the business world. And right now, we go around the world because we know these two worlds collide. And I'm telling you, as these worlds collide, you're going to be competitive. But most importantly, I want you to compete and win. God bless you today. Thank you for tuning in to the Millionaire Hour. God bless you and see you soon.